Hi, and welcome to day 5 of the 12 days of Christmas. And today we're going to have a wee chat about choices. The curse and also the best of what we have. So often we think choices are, between do I want this for dinner or do I want that for dinner? And choices are, well, I could go out, I could stay in. But the thing we often don't think about is the choices that we then blame other people that we've made. So what do I mean by that? Well, often we'll say things like, well, you made me do that, which is totally untrue. It is, you have done that for whatever reason. You have made the choice to do that. But that means taking responsibility. So we're not that keen in doing that too often. So often we will defer it back and we'll blame somebody else. If it hasn't gone the way I chose to go and that wasn't good for me, then often what will happen is I'll defer that back out to, well, that was at that point when I was thinking about doing it and you influenced me, so you made me do that. And it's that part I want to hone in on for particularly this holiday time, where it's really, really easy to get into the blame game. So let me explain. Hi, Carla, see you there, my darling. Good to have you on board. So we've got what I call the leading me ladder of leadership. So this is where we big it up or we belittle. We big it up being control and judgment, or we blame and feel victim. They made me do that. It's very much a blame and victim statement. So that means we're in belittling mode. We belittle others, we belittle ourselves. Or, it's like, it needs to be done like this. This is the way I know is best. That's the controlling side. So you'll see at the top there, it says ego situation. So that means my ego is mastering me. It's either having me big myself up because I think I have the best way forward, or belittling myself for others. And you'll see there, I've got a couple of tools that get you back into the middle. That middle section is leading me. And that is where I am responsible. Right? Now, responsibility is a big thing, but I am responsible for my choices. So I remember years ago talking to a guy who he kept saying things about how, and it was a client, and he kept saying things about, well, on a Saturday morning, I have to go and see my mother. She was in a home at the time. I have to go and see my mother. I'd rather play golf. That's not my choice, Max. And I remember saying, okay, so if that's not your choice, whose choice is it? Well, I don't have a choice because all my brothers and sisters don't live here. I live here. I have to go in and see her. And I said, so who says you have to? And he said, well, there's no one else to do it. And I said, yeah, but that doesn't mean to say you have to do it. He said, well, I can't have my mother on her own. And I said, okay, so how do you feel about doing that every week? Oh, yeah, it drives me nuts. She drives me nuts. I mean, she's constantly jabbering and, I really don't want to be there. I'd rather be playing golf. I said, so what made you go there and not play golf? Because I don't have a choice. And this is the mindset we get into, is I don't have a choice. So I said, well, what would happen if you didn't go and you went to play golf? And he stopped and he went, well, my mother wouldn't have a visitor. And I said, yeah, but is the world going to fall apart? Is it a really, really bad thing? Well, I wouldn't want her to be sitting on her own. And I said, well, you resent going in So how is that benefiting her relationship with you and your relationship with her? And he said, well, it's not always bad. And I said, okay, but let's get back to the whole point of you'd rather play golf. What's that about? Well, I like golf. And I said, so do you play it on a Sunday? Well, yeah, but I'd rather play it on a Saturday because it's usually the team event. And I said, so what's stopping you? And where he would normally just say, well, because I don't have a choice, he just stopped for a second or two. And he said, well, because I need to go and see my mum. And I said, okay, and what's stopping you? And I just kept repeating until he got deeper and deeper. And then he said, because I'd feel really bad if I didn't go. And I said, so the choice you have is I go and play golf and feel bad for not going, or I go and see mum and feel good about I'm going there. So that's your choice. And you make that choice to go and see your mum. So what's your issue? And he said, I actually don't know. He said, I think I've been playing it. So we went back to, as I was talking about, the leading me ladder of leadership. And we saw he was going into victim mode, right? And he was also a bit big in it. You know, I have to do it, you're Superman, diddly-do. I'm the only one, my siblings are elsewhere, so I go in and do. So a bit big in it, which then transfers into poor me, because I'm the only one that can do it, and it da-da-da. So next session, he came back round and he said, do you know, Mags, I had the best day ever with my mum. And I said, really? What made the difference? He said, me and my attitude. And I said, oh, tell me more. And basically he'd woken up to the point of, this is my choice. I make the choice because it actually makes me feel better and good about doing this. And because his awareness and realization was, this was a choice that he made. He could go and play golf, but he chose to go and see his mum. And because he went there with an open heart this time, with that appreciation in his heart, instead of resentment because he felt he had to blah, 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 story that the ego was leading him out with, he was in the centre ground of leading me. He was out of the movie. He wasn't playing the parts of victim and blame or judgment, and resentment comes in there, judgment and control. So he wasn't resenting. And he was in that loving flow of ease. And he said he had the best conversation ever with his mum, and they were talking about way back, and she told him things that he didn't even know, all because he went in with an open heart. All because he realised it was his choice, that or mum, golf or mum. So you see, we always have a choice, but sometimes we make that choice, which can easily be manifested in that poor me, I've always got to do, if we allow it. But if we see it for what it is it makes me feel good to be able to go, I've gone in and seen my mum, or whatever it may be. Some of us don't have mums around for all sorts of reasons. And if we just stop and take that moment of, is that my choice? And if it is, then, I mean, I don't have my mum here in the airplane, but it is my choice that I converse with her. Right? I still feel her around. So it's still a choice. And as long as we understand everything we do is a choice, life becomes easier. So if it's coming up to Christmas and you're going to so-and-so's for Christmas because I have to, just stop for a minute and think, what's the reasons I have chosen to go to that place? And if the reason is it makes you feel better, then embrace it and do. If it's because it makes you feel really bad, you have to review your choices and think, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this year I will make another choice. And yeah, it may upset other people, but it's back to leading me is about, I need to make me happy, because then others get. So we have to own our choices. And if we do make that choice that goes against what I feel, then we have to take the consequences of that. So we can make it good, or we can sit in resentment and poor me, but it doesn't feel good when you're there. And it doesn't do us any good. And the worst thing of all is whatever we put out, we get back. So the more we do of that, the more we get. So make your choices wisely. No one else's choice, just yours. So day 5, choices. What are you going to do this Christmas season? What choices are you going to make yourself happy? I'll leave you with that one. So for me, for now, stay true, stay you, and keep bringing out that brilliance. Bye for now.